So it's the middle of February in Fredericton, and I'm just going to show you how to plant some seeds. These would be the early start seeds, the one you want to give a head start before you put them in the garden in the spring. It's too early for most of your seeds, but certainly peppers can be started mid to late February if you have good grow lights, and tomatoes well into March. Cucumbers and stuff like that, they only need about a month indoors. I already have started some of my herbs, the ones that take weeks and weeks to grow. So I've got some seeds here, and what I did, the seeds from the seed library come in little bags, and I've actually soaked my seeds for just overnight. It just plumps them up a little bit and gets them ready. If your seeds are in the bag and some are floating after soaking, they're probably not going to grow. The other thing is with your seeds, possibly if they look black or don't plump up a bit, they may not grow as well. So there's two ways that you can plant your seeds. You can use containers like this, poke a few little holes in the bottom so they drain. The lid can be used as a saucer underneath, and it can also be used to cover your seeds to keep the humidity in while they germinate. I usually start my seeds in a shallow container, and then I move on to deeper containers to grow them in until they're ready to go in the garden. So this is a little peat pot. They're not ideal to use. When I transplant them, I remove the net, but they do work. And there's a little hole in the middle. You put your seeds in, and I just use a little stick to cover the seeds up. So I'm going to plant my seeds that have been soaking, and I'm going to put them about, a half an inch apart in rows. And then you can put multiple rows of seeds in here. Depending on what you're growing. And I would put another row here and another row here. I would just take a little bit of soil, cover up your seeds. When you cover them up, pat them down really well because the seed needs to get in good contact with the soil. So this is my setup that I use for growing my plants. What it is just a set of shelves with a very inexpensive fluorescent light fixture. It doesn't have a cover on it. It's just an inexpensive one, but it serves the purpose. They are mounted on the underside of the shelf, and they are on a timer, so I run my light 16 to 18 hours a day. A sunny window isn't enough for growing your plants. These are just regular fluorescent lights, nothing fancy. But someone said on Facebook about a light at the dollar store, and I don't know if you can tell from the color, this is kind of a pinkish color light from the dollar store. It was in the light bulb section, and it will provide blue and red spectrums for your plants for growing. I have used these kinds of lights, LED lights, before, and my plants did very well. I had both. I had the fluorescent and that. If you look at my seeds here, these have been growing for a couple of weeks, and I actually do have some seeds starting to come up. I have labels on all my plants because when they're growing, you really don't know what they are. One note of warning, these bright lights will often fade the printing on your labels, so I always make a paper copy so I know where everything's planted. When I started my seeds, I covered them with a plastic bag. This is just a recycled bag I've used. You can cover it with anything. That just keeps the moisture inside. I am going to leave those ones that are starting to grow uncovered. In my house, I keep a little slow fan on to keep the air circulating. The one thing you don't want is your plants to get too wet and to have no air circulation because that encourages disease. As the plants grow, I will uncover them from the plastic. I may have to shuffle them around in this container. And then I put 2 to 3 seeds in each little pot. And when they start growing well, I will probably snip out the weaker plants in each pot. So of each type of plant that I have planted, I'll only have about 8 plants to go with. And I will keep that, I haven't set up that grow light yet, the extra light, but I will use an inexpensive light fixture just to keep it growing. So the big things with growing your own seeds, you need to have light. And in our winters, you need fluorescent light, something else to go along with whatever window light you have, and run it 16 to 18 hours a day on a timer. You need water and you need warmth. Now, under these, as you can see, there's a light under each shelf. So above that light, that is actually very warm. What I will do as the plants start growing is I will actually put this whole tray onto boxes, and I will keep the plants growing just a few inches from the light. This is how I would do it. I would put a box underneath, but I would probably put at least 2 boxes. I'm not ready to do this yet because the seeds are just starting to come up, and I still want my seeds that haven't germinated yet to get some warmth. But basically, commercial light fixtures for growing, they give you chains to keep your lights just above your seeds. I'm doing it the other way. I'm moving my seeds up to the lights, but it works either way. So we'll get back another time and you can see some progress, how the seeds are doing.